From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day, this is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday extended his heartfelt New Year's greetings to Filipinos across the country and abroad, urging them to draw inspiration from acts of courage, compassion, and bayanihan, or the spirit of community and cooperation as the nation embarks on the journey into 2025. In his New Year's message, the President acknowledged the challenges the country faced in the previous months, particularly in the wake of calamities that disrupted communities and upended lives. Despite these adversities, President Marcos emphasized Filipinos' resilience, underscoring the importance of solidarity and perseverance in the face of hardships. The chief executive also highlighted that the new year is a time for personal reflection and growth, a chance to strike a balance between learning from the past and embracing the possibilities of tomorrow.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news stories, Malacañang on Wednesday said Philippine Ambassador to the United States or U.S. Jose Manuel Romualdez will attend U.S. President Donald Trump's inauguration on January 20th on behalf of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. In a statement, Presidential Communications Office or PCO Secretary Cesar Chavez said the U.S. invited the chief of diplomatic missions to represent their respective countries at Trump's inauguration. Chavez said the palace confirms that the Secretary of State, on behalf of the Joint Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, invited the chiefs of diplomatic missions along with their spouses to represent their respective heads of state and their governments at the principal inaugural events. Trump, who served as U.S. President from 2017 to 2021, earned a fresh mandate from the Americans in the 2024 elections after defeating outgoing U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris. Chavez also said there was no confirmation yet whether President Marcos would visit the U.S. to meet with Trump in the early months of 2025. In a phone call in November, the Philippine President congratulated Trump for his second term as U.S. President. They also discussed the long-standing alliance between the U.S. and the Philippines. The U.S. has been the Philippines' oldest and strongest military ally.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the Philippine Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG on Wednesday thanked President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. for signing the 6.32 trillion peso national budget and vowed to prudently utilize its budget allocation under the 2025 General Appropriations Act. In a statement, DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla said being the fourth highest budget allocation at 279.1 billion pesos, the department extends its gratitude to the President for his support of the agency's mandate to foster excellence in local governance, promote peace and order, and enhance public safety for the development of resilient and inclusive communities. Remulla also assured that the agency will utilize the budget responsibly, judiciously, and prudently to support the administration's prosperity agenda for Filipinos. Meanwhile, the DILG has closed its 4 trust fund accounts at the Land Bank of the Philippines or LBP with an aggregate amount of over 12.98 million pesos following recommendations from the Commission on Audit. The state audit body earlier flagged the DILG for maintaining 4 unauthorized bank accounts, stating that their creation and retention as of end 2023 have no legal basis. The DILG said the accounts were used as depository accounts for funds from other national government agencies. The accounts were created to ensure the prompt release of funds to support the implementation of various programs and projects. The DILG said it is now coordinating with the Bureau of Treasury or BTR to open the Modified Disbursement System Trust account under LBP, which will be used for fund transfers granted or entrusted to the department and may take effect in January 2025.
Dateline Malacañang.
A lawmaker recognized the changes in the agriculture sector under the administration of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. According to Navota's Representative Toby Tiangco, reforms made by the government in the agriculture sector is slowly coming to fruition. One proof is the 95% inventory goal which was achieved by the National Food Authority or NFA for the year 2024, wherein more than 5 million sacks of 50-kilogram rice were bought from local farmers. NFA Director Larry Lacson earlier said during the Quinta Committee hearing there are 5.4 million bags in warehouses or equivalent to 275,000 metric tons of rice. Tiangco underscored that with the help of laws and reforms promoted by President Marcos, the agriculture sector will continue to flourish as well as the development of the lives of Filipino farmers.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Police Regional Office 5 or Bicol Philippine National Police or PNP confirmed that the submarine drone retrieved from the waters covered by the municipality of San Pascual in the province of Masbate came from China. According to Bicol PNP Director Police Brigadier General Andre Dizon, based on their initial investigations, Chinese markings were found on the said drone. Dizon said the HY-119 drone submarine was used for communication, underwater surveillance, oceanographic research, and naval operations. The drone also has a frequency homing capability so that it cannot be easily detected wherever it goes. To recall, the said drone submarine was brought by 3 fishermen to the police station after it was recovered from the waters by Iniwaran Town last December 30th. According to Dizon, the drone submarine was already turned over to the Philippine Navy to undergo careful examination.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news stories, the Philippine National Irrigation Administration or NIA advised the public that they will open once again the Bagong Bayaning Magsasaka or BBM Rice store at the Kadiwa ng Pangulo at the NIA Central Office next Friday, January 10th. The agency explained that this will give way for the conduct of stock inventory of rice. Under the BBM Rice program, NIA continues to offer cheaper rice of 29 pesos per kilo to senior citizens, solo parents, persons with special needs, members of the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program or 4Ps. NIA earlier reported that more than 1 million kilograms of rice were sold on the continuous rollout of BBM Rice. NIA said this mirrors the huge contribution of the program to deliver cheaper rice prices to poor Filipino families.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Philippine government workers may now receive their medical allowance as the Department of Budget and Management or DBM approves the guidelines on the grant of the 7,000 peso medical allowance for 2025. The DBM said Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman approved Budget Circular 2024-6, which lays out the guidelines, rules, and regulations on the grant of the medical allowance. The grant is in line with Executive Order or EO 64 Series of 2024, which also prescribed the salary increase for government personnel signed by President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on August 2, 2024. In a statement on Thursday, Pangandaman said this is a promise fulfilled. The annual medical allowance will be given to qualified civilian government personnel as a subsidy to avail of Health Maintenance Organization or HMO type benefits. The DBM circular covers all civilian government personnel in the national government agencies, including state universities and colleges and government-owned and controlled corporations not covered by Republic Act 10149 and EO 150 Series of 2021. All government workers, regardless of appointment status, whether regular, casual, or contractual, appointive, or elective, and on a full-time or part-time basis are eligible for the medical grant. Employees in the local government units and local water districts are also covered. The allowance may be granted in the form of HMO-type product coverage, which could be availed by either government agencies concerned or their respective employees' organizations or groups. It can also be in cash form for those who will avail their own or pay or renew their existing HMO-type benefit. The budget chief thanked the president for putting premium on state workers' health. Pangandaman said this medical allowance is not just a benefit, it's a vital investment in safeguarding a healthy workforce and ensuring that they perform at their best.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Philippine Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA rang in 2025 on a good note, closing out a leap year accentuated by its diplomatic strides that saw it skillfully navigating complex shifts in regional geopolitics while continuing to advance national interest. From an arduous work at the negotiating table, the Philippines in July was able to reach a provisional arrangement on the country's rotation and resupply missions in the Ayungin Shoal. This marked the first formal deal reached between the Philippines and China on the West Philippine Sea feature, a feat that came only a few weeks after the June 17th tense confrontation between the Chinese Coast Guard and Filipino vessels carrying supplies to the troops stationed at the BRP Sierra Madre. The standoff, the worst and most violent in recent years, injured a Filipino soldier and caused severe damage to the Filipino vessels that triggered public outcry and condemnation from the international community. For the DFA, the provisional arrangement, among other diplomatic initiatives, served as a testament to the Marcos administration's commitment to a peaceful approach to defending Philippine interests over the West Philippine Sea. As part of Manila's promotion of a rules-based order, especially in the maritime space, the government also submitted its formal claim over an extended continental shelf or ECS in the Western Palawan region in the West Philippine Sea before the UN Commission on the Limits of the Continental Shelf in June. In his State of the Nation address, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. himself said the government would continue asserting its rights over the resource-rich waters while continuously try to find ways to de-escalate tensions without compromising the Philippine position. Anchored on its independent foreign policy, Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo said the country would continue choosing the path of diplomacy and the rule of law in addressing national security challenges. Still, at the heart of DFA work is the protection of Filipino welfare abroad. In countries marked by unrest and conflict, especially in the Middle East, the DFA flew in more than 1,000 distressed overseas Filipinos back to the Philippines. The transfer of Filipino death row convict Mary Jane Veloso, a victim of human trafficking and exploitation, to Philippine custody before Christmas also demonstrated the efficiency of Philippine diplomacy. From years of appeals for the Indonesian government to grant leniency to the Filipina, talks between the two countries finally culminated in a practical arrangement that saw her return to the country after more than a decade of incarceration in the Southeast Asian state.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 9.475 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.820 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this has been Steph Vicente. Good day and stay safe, everyone.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.